This is a mid-range. So is this, and this. But technically, this is too. What is this, you ask? Well, it's a 35-year-old mid-range, the Innova Scorpion. And I want to know how it compares to modern mid-ranges, because the disc is in the details. Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs, and today is all about mid-ranges. But before we get started, we're excited to announce that you can now support us as a channel member. Starting from just $1 a month, you can help support the content we create and get some great perks with early access to weekly videos, priority reply to your comments, and exclusive members-only videos and live streams. Plus, if you join at $4, $7, or $10 a month, you get discounts on all orders from sixsideddiscs.com. If you're already buying discs online, why not get a discount that pays for itself? But don't worry, if you prefer to just continue watching our videos the way you always have, nothing will change for you. Thank you all for your support, and also a huge thank you to one of our viewers, Mike, for sending us these Innova Scorpions. Mid-ranges come in many shapes and sizes, but this is not what I think of when I think mid-range. But it's also not what I think of when I think fairway driver or distance driver either. The Innova Scorpion really is something different, and we'll see how it flies later, compared to a few other modern mid-ranges. But first, let's talk about mid-ranges in general. Mid-ranges are a sometimes overlooked and less glamorous slot in a player's bag. While the saying goes, drive for show, putt for dough, and doesn't say anything about mid-ranges at all, they are an important part of many players' games, especially at tightly wooded or technical courses. When we did our first straight mid-range test for our Flight Numbers Don't Matter series, we found some great information on mid-ranges from UDisc. Roll the clip. UDisc's Release Point blog had a great piece on how and when to throw mid-ranges. Quote, because of their ability to glide and shape shots, mid-ranges are great for both shorter tee shots and longer up shots. One thing that makes mid-range discs so popular is how controllable they are. UDisc used 2017 Advanced Amateur Disc Golf World Champion AJ Carey as one of their sources on the topic, and he said, quote, mids fill a purpose as the most controlled flights in my bag. He went on to say, I can throw them straight, on anhyzers, rollers, hyzer flips, soft hyzers, and hard fades. You cannot leave out the mids. For most discs we make videos about, we do research and try to learn as much as possible about the disc. But for the Scorpion, that has been quite the challenge. While the Scorpion isn't technically discontinued because Innova does limited runs from time to time, it isn't listed as one of Innova's 5-speed mid-ranges on their own website. I figured some other retailers might have some information, so I started with Infinite Discs. And at first glance, you might think it's short on information. It reads, quote, the Scorpion is a large diameter, mid-range control driver. It glides long for exceptional shot-making throws. And honestly, I love this description because you might think it's vague, but it actually does a great job of describing the Scorpion. The Scorpion is a 5-speed. It's technically a mid-range, but as you'll see later, it is sort of a driver too. So I abandoned my retailer research and went back to Innova's website, figuring I'd find some archived story about the Scorpion, but even searching Innova's website gave us no results. The only thing on any of Innova's sites are some factory second Champion Scorpions on the factory store. So I think the best way for us to learn about the Scorpion and discover more of what makes it unique and interesting is to take a closer look at the Scorpion as well as some other mid-ranges. Among lower arm speed amateur players, mid-ranges sell like hotcakes, usually because they can get the same distance with mid-ranges as they can with some drivers. But one thing that makes mid-ranges so interesting is how different they are from one to the next. In just our Flight Numbers Don't Matter series alone, we've tested over 100 different mid-ranges. And boy, is there some variety in design, shape, depth, and much, much more. But not a single one of these looks anything like the Innova Scorpion. 5-speed mid-ranges today do tend to have at least one thing in common. They all have roughly the same rim width, around 1.4 to 1.5 centimeters. But the Scorpion is quite a big outlier here, measuring much closer to 2 centimeters, and feels even wider than that. In my hand, the Scorpion feels more like a 7 to 9 speed fairway driver, except that it is a wide diameter mid-range. And specifically on the topic of measurements and diameter of a disc, it's massive. Other wide diameter mid-ranges are pretty big, like the Buzz at 21.7 centimeters and the Rock 3 at 21.8, but the Scorpion is even wider at 22.5. And while those numbers may not sound that different, the feel in the hand is noticeable. And with such a radically different design, you might assume that it flies differently than most modern mid-ranges. And you'd be right. Here's a selection of some popular mid-ranges doing their mid-rangey thing. Flying slower and more controlled than drivers. Gliding along without a care in the world. And yes, some fly left. And some fly right. But they tend to do it smoothly and slowly. But this is where the Scorpion comes in and says, sure, you might call me a mid-range, but I don't fly like that. The only accurate way I can find to explain it is that the Scorpion really flies like a driver. You'll notice that it flies much faster through the air than your average mid-range. Turning and fading much faster like a driver as well. And heck, even with the thicker rim and wide diameter, I was able to get some decent forehand shots with it as well. The Scorpion, just like any disc from 35 years ago, stands out when you compare it directly to modern day designs. But so do cars from 35 years ago. What's impressive is that if you open your mind to what a mid-range can be, the Scorpion might just be the first of many discs to surprise you. What are your favorite discs from years gone by? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, the disc is in the details. Thanks again to Mike for sending us these Scorpions, and thank you very much to all of you for watching. For Six Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one. Whoa.
I don't know how it flies, and it might go too far. I don't know.
Flies into the basket is what it flies like.
It's pretty stable. So you see, like it thought about turning,
Yeah.
and then it fights out. But doesn't that fly a lot more like a driver than a mid-range?
Yeah, it feels
like-
weird. Like it came out. I don't know if that's just me, but it just came out very different.
It's a super wide disc. All right, try again.
Damn, it's just easy.
It is big. You see, that's stable enough to fight out, though.
Yeah, but like, ugh.
Oh no, old man sat down for too long. Oh boy. Oh, see cheating.
If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or becoming a member. Your support makes this content possible.